What's cracking, guys? Oh, are you soft here? Back with another video, here with a special guest today.
Bruce Prawn Truck.
And of course, we're talking about deadlifts because I understand, Bruce, that you're quite good at doing deadlifts.
I've done a few deadlifts in my day, yeah. Absolutely.
What's your best pull?
Conventional is 343 kilos, 756 pounds, and sumo in my suit, which is pretty much the optimum and most highest level of cheating, would be 860, which is 390 kilos. People
talk about how much you deadlift, but what people also mention, I think is very important, is how clean, how smooth it looks. And that's actually, fresh and clean, because you know why? People notice, and when you do your coaching, you coach a lot of individuals, you emphasize kind of taking your time and not at all yanking the bar.
Right.
And that's very important. Now, why is that? Just explain when people say be explosive, why you think maybe that's a bad cue, your whole mentality when it comes to the deadlift. You have a world-class deadlift, so.
Yeah, so I think that, the whole idea of being explosive in the deadlift, I wish I knew where it came from. Maybe it was from Westside and their idea of speed pulls, and maybe it was from, I don't even know, but the idea of trying to be explosive and be fast, I think often causes people to make a lot of mistakes, especially in the first portion of the movement. If you look at Olympic lifters, they often break up the movement into two different segments, right? You have your first pull and your second pull. According to most coaches anyways, I don't know a whole lot about Olympic lifting, but.
As we learned on the subway when they asked, what's so funny, someone asked what you do like at the lifting. I said, he's a world-class lifter. I said, you do the
up over your head, right?
Yeah, the up over your head. You're like, the 860, what's up and over my head?
Yeah, look at these shoulders, man. So I think the biggest thing that people often get wrong is trying to be explosive instead of trying to be smooth and trying to be proficient with the movement and set yourself up during that first little bit of the range of motion to be in a good position to finish. A lot of times when people try to be explosive, the bar's drifting away from their shins, they're not properly braced, so we're seeing people lose their back angle. And so many people miss, just below the knees or just above the knees in situations where they otherwise shouldn't really miss. And I think it's a loss of position and inconsistency and a whole lot of stuff. I don't know a whole lot of high-level deadlifters that pull like that. There definitely are some, there's always exceptions to the rule, but I think as a general sort of outlook on the deadlift, I think we need to start being slower off the floor.
Okay, and so you would say for someone that wants to deadlift long-term, deadlift the most amount of weight, because there might be some people that are looking at this video, it's like, that's cool, bro, like I see you, Bryce, like you deadlift big, but I know A, B, C, D, that basically yank and are explosive and have big numbers. What would you say the rationale that you would give someone that wants to lift the most amount of weight? They say, well, but I yank on the bar or I'm explosive and I lift more, so why should I try and be more slow and more methodical with my pull?
I think part of it is when you become more consistent, you're gonna be less prone to injury. A lot of times when we have an injury, it's a deviation in technique. And we can minimize those by trying to be more consistent. If you can consistently smash into the bar and the weight whips around the exact same every time and you don't end up getting pulled out, like, sure, go for it. Maybe you're that small percentage of people who can get away with that. And I'm not trying to say there's only one way to lift, because there isn't. But generally speaking, and for most lifters, that's where we start to get into problems, is when people start smashing into the bar. And a lot of times those lifters maybe aren't around for a long period of time. Maybe those lifters have a higher incidence of injury, and I know that's not an absolute truth, but in my experience and in my opinion, most people who deadlift like that will often get to a point where they either plateau or they get hurt and they have to go back and relearn how to pull themselves into tension, pull the slack out of the bar, ease the bar off the floor, and do those kinds of things correctly in order to make more progress in the lift.
Now let me ask you, if someone is listening to this and it's like, all right man, you pitched it, Bryce, I dig it, I want to start doing it. How does one change? Is it just a conscientious effort for you to focus on pulling the bar more slowly? Like, how does one incorporate the tips that you've just outlined?
The biggest things are going to be bracing yourself properly, so pulling the slack out of the bar. A lot of times that's going to be pulling the lats on, trying to pinch the armpits shut, get the upper back and the spine and get tension pulled into everything. So you want to get your trunk tight. The next thing you want to do is, instead of sitting your butt down, a lot of people recognize that we kind of want, a more vertical torso angle in a lot of cases. But some people will just kind of sit their butt down and then pull from there. What we want to do is we want to actually try to pull the hips down and lever yourself against the bar with light weights. A lot of times this is going to result in the bar floating before you even attempt to actually pull it. And I'm sure you've seen that and probably felt that yourself. So that's another thing that we're looking for. And the next thing, the final thing, is we want to push the bar off the floor.
Okay.
A lot of times what'll happen is people get into the habit of pulling, the hips come up behind them, and they're thinking about really trying to be explosive, and we lose a lot of that sort of quad work out of it. We say let's see those knees straighten ahead of time without the hips maintaining their angle. What we want off the floor in a deadlift is we want that hip angle to be essentially silent.
Yeah.
We don't want that hip angle to change. We don't want it to become more extreme as you initiate the lift, because that's going to cause you to have to go through more hip extension throughout the lift.
Yeah.
Whereas if we can start with knee extension, pushing the bar off the floor, much like a leg press, then we're going to end up in a way better mechanical position to be able to finish the last half of the lift.
That makes sense to me, man. I think you've really shown that you could pull with the deadlift both styles, smooth and big weights, because some people would say, it's like, yeah, like, okay, I could pull, take my time, be in a better position, but I feel a lot weaker. But I think you give a very strong argument towards yourself and everything you just described, that you could do both. That you could be both strong and pull from a great position.
Yeah, it's like anything else, it just takes practice.
Anything you want to say in closing, Bryce?
No, that's about it. I want to see more people lifting better. I want to see less people getting hurt powerlifting. You know, it's a sport where, unfortunately, there is some inherent risk with trying to push your body to that level. So my goal, and the whole reason that we started our powerlifting channel, was basically to try to increase the knowledge level of the average lifter and the technical proficiency of your average lifter.
That makes complete sense to me. I would say, Bryce, thank you so much, or should I say Bruce, for being on the channel. Make sure to check out his channel. If you haven't already, subscribe to Calgary Barbell, uploading fantastic powerlifting content. If you liked the video, you made it all the way to the end of this video. So either you're bored, you're on the shitter, or you enjoyed it. Either which way, like the damn video, and we'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace.